Hello my small fat adaptive family, and welcome back to the Great Keto Bake Off. Remember that I am trusting my ability to keto-fy high carb recipes in a very short space of time, so there is potential that things will go wrong, like it does on the show, but if it does, you get to see all of that on camera. So episode 8, the quarter final of the Great British Bake Off, was free from week. The signature was dairy-free ice cream sandwiches. The technical was vegan sausage rolls with a vegan chutney, and the showstopper was 2 tiered gluten-free celebration cakes. I found this week quite nice because there were terms that I knew about and I didn't have to research them, like them talking about xanthan gum, but of course no recipe was free from carbs. There is a common misconception that gluten-free means keto-friendly because gluten is found in high-carb foods like wheat. But gluten is not a carbohydrate, it is a group of proteins. So I couldn't just easily make one of the showstopper cakes this week. And whilst Lizzie's lent itself more towards being ketogenic because she made a coconut flour cake, it still had loads of high carb ingredients like pineapples. And I think the vegan sausage rolls are just too many unknown risks in such a small amount of time. I have never attempted a keto rough puff pastry. I have never made vegan sausage meat. I think I'm gonna rein it back in this week, which does of course mean that I will be making the ice cream sandwiches, but I am breaking away from the traditional categories because my recipe will not be dairy free. Instead, it'll be high carb free, which I guess is still applicable for free from week, right? And I've decided to go with a real simple flavour this week because I have never made ice cream, whether low carb or high carb. I've just never really had the incentive to stand there and shake or massage a bag for 10 to 15 minutes. But I don't have an ice cream maker, so guess what we'll be doing today? So for episode 8, the quarterfinal of the Great British Bake Off, I will be keto-fying Lizzie's vanilla and almond ice cream sandwiches. These will be a keto vanilla ice cream with sugar-free butter candies and flaked almonds in it. Then it will be sandwiched, hopefully, between 2 dark cocoa biscuits. Let's get cooking. So in terms of ingredients, you will need for the ice cream 400 ml of double cream, 2 tablespoons of powdered sweetener, I'm using erythritol, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, half a teaspoon of almond extract, about 500 grams to a kilo of ice, 6 tablespoons of rock salt or coarse sea salt, 6 sugar-free butter candies that have been crushed, I am using sugar-free Werther's, and 2 tablespoons of sliced almonds that have just been gently crumbled. And then for the cookies, the biscuits, you will need 130 grams of almond flour, 44 grams of cocoa powder, a tablespoon of gelatin, 1 large egg, 115 grams of salted butter, a teaspoon of baking powder, half a cup of sweetener, again I'm using powdered erythritol, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we're going to start by making our cookies or our biscuits so that they've got time to cool whilst we are making our ice cream. So the first thing you want to do is put your oven on 180 Celsius or 350 Fahrenheit. Then in this bowl I have my salted butter and I'm going to add my cocoa powder, and then I'm going to pop this in the microwave for about 30 seconds. After 30 seconds I'm going to get it out and I'm going to give it just a real quick stir. Then you want to return it to the microwave for another 30 seconds and give it another stir and keep doing that until your butter has fully melted. It looks like mine has actually fully melted after just 30 seconds in an 1000-watt microwave. So that's going to get popped to the side, leave it to cool just a little bit. And in a separate bowl, we're going to add our dry ingredients. So that's almond flour, gelatin, baking powder, and sweetener. Then we're going to give that a nice quick stir just to combine those ingredients. The reason I've decided to put gelatin in this recipe is to help act as a thickener and a binder to try and help the cookies just keep their shape just a little bit more. So now those ingredients are mixed up, that bowl gets put to the side and your butter and cocoa bowl comes back. Just check the temperature of it by touching the bottom. If it feels sort of room temperature, then it's time to add the rest of the wet ingredients to it. So that's the egg and the vanilla extract. Then you want to give this a real good mix. Once you've mixed it The mixture might seem really quite lumpy and greasy, but don't worry too much about it because that will go in a second, because we're going to get our dry mixture and we're going to add half of it. We're going to mix that in well, and then once you've mixed that, you want to add the rest of the dry mixture and give it another good mix, and it will start to become tough and be like brownie batter. So once you're happy that it's nice and well combined, you're just going to pop it in the fridge for about 5 minutes just to help chill it a little bit, make it a little bit easier to maneuver with your hands when we need to. It's been 5 minutes, and I've also realised that up until now my microphone hasn't been connected. So I apologise for the potentially bad audio quality that you've just had for a few minutes. But what we are going to do now is we're going to take our batter and we're going to create 16 cookies with it. I'm not messing around rolling it out or anything. I think it's just a little bit too sticky to do so. So instead, I'm going to bunch it all up as one. Split that in half with a spatula. That gives me 2. Split that in half. That gives me 4. Let's get a mat out to do this. So we've got 4. So we'll split them in 2. And that will give us 8. And then if we split them in 2, that should give us 16. This now gives me a chance to quickly eyeball the size of them and take little bits off of ones that seem much bigger to try and get them as even as possible. Okay, I think I'm happy with those sizes, so I'm going to wet my hands. I'm going to wash my hands first, then I'm going to wet them just to make it a bit easier to mould these into cookies. So with wet hands, I'm going to pick up a cookie, mould it into a ball in my hand, and then use my palms to flatten it to about the size of my palm. Just a little bit smaller, like that. And then I will lay it on the cookie sheet. Just wet your hands as and when you need to between cookies. And then I'm just using the tips of my fingers on the sheet to just try to make them into as even as a circle as I can. Once again, I feel like a 5-year-old getting real messy and dirty in the kitchen. So now that the messy bit is over, we got 16 pretty similar, some are a little bit rough, cookies. And these are going to get baked for, I'm going to say 12 to 15 minutes, but I will check them at 10 minutes and see how it goes. And of course, I will tell you how long they actually take. So the cookies are now out of the oven. They are behind me cooling for about 5 minutes before I transfer them to a wire rack to continue cooling until they are completely cold. They took about 12 minutes. I turned them halfway through just to give them a bit more of an even cook, and I tested them by just pressing my finger gently on the top of the middle, and if it was a little bit spongy, they were ready and I got them out, because it's very hard to tell otherwise because they are so dark in colour. So the next step, which is going to be the longest step, is to make our ice cream. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our cream and we're going to add all of the ice cream ingredients to it. So we've got the powdered sweetener, then we have almond extract, vanilla extract, sliced almonds, and then our crushed up butter candies. And you're just going to give that a real quick stir just to try and incorporate those ingredients, kind of break up those butter candies because they're sticking together quite a lot. So here I have 3 Ziploc bags. I have one of those ones that you just stick together. I have a proper full Ziploc, and then I have a much larger Ziploc. What I'm going to do is take my proper Ziploc and put it inside my other bag. This is just doubling up protection in case of any splits. Now I'm going to pour the cream into this bag. Then with the cream in the bag, you're going to want to compress it, get rid of the air, and then seal it tightly. If you're worried about the seal, I suggest sellotaping it. So in the bigger Ziploc bag, we're going to put ice. There's no sort of definite amount that you will need to put in. I just suggest filling it at least about 1/3 full, and then we'll put the cream in and then we'll put more ice in. And this is where a cool bit of science comes in, because we're going to take our rock salt or our coarse sea salt and we're going to add it to our ice. This will make it colder, and we need it colder because otherwise the ice would melt before the cream has actually frozen due to their melting points. Stack me, that is cold. That's how you get frostbite. A little bit of ice removed just so that we can put this in and manoeuvre it around. So this bag is getting sealed, And then for the next 10 to 15 minutes of my life, it's going in a tea towel and it's getting shaken and massaged gently until it is frozen. We put it in a tea towel because we don't want to chill our fingers to the point we get frostbite. Right, I will see you in about 15 minutes when this is ice cream. I have just had the most horrible 45 minutes of my life. So I thought to agitate the ice cream, you had to treat it with care. Love it. Tender touches, like you're handling a baby. You know, I treated mine like a baby that I loved dearly, and after half an hour, nothing. It had turned into just a thick cream that I would have gotten quicker results whipping it. Then I realised you need to seriously agitate it with aggressive shaking. So after restarting with the ice and the salt and aggressively shaking for 15 minutes, getting liquid everywhere, I got to soft serve ice cream. Right now it's sat in the freezer to prevent it from melting, but I'm not able to get it any harder. I don't have the muscle strength in my arms to shake it any longer. I do think the studio lighting, the heat coming off of these lights, is part of the problem. The moral of the story is that if you want to make your own ice cream, get an ice cream maker. So what we're going to do is we're going to put together at least one ice cream sandwich, see how it goes, see how soft it really is between these nice, sort of hard, somewhat soft biscuits. Otherwise, I've just got some lovely soft serve that I could crumble biscuits into. You're not going to believe what I just got told. This is an ice cream machine. I've never seen this before in my life. And apparently we've had it for years. So we're going to take two biscuits of about the same size and we're going to flip one upside down, and this is what our scoop of ice cream will go on, and then we'll pop that one on the top and squish it down. In this bag, in with a bag, in between a bag, there's a bag and a bag and a bag. We have our soft serve ice cream. We'll get a nice dollop of that. It looks like clotted cream really. And we'll put a dollop on there, nice big dollop. Then actually I'm going to close that back up and put it straight back in the freezer, and then we'll squeeze that down like that, and we have an ice cream sandwich. Look at that. It's already starting to melt, so let's tuck into this real quick. Got a little flake of almond then in the ice cream that is just now dripping already. It needs a bit more vanilla. Could do with a bit more almond. I could do with more fillings in it because I'm not really getting anything apart from that single slither of almond. Like, where's the butter candy? It is melting so fast. Beautifully creamy, this ice cream. I think it could be sweeter as well actually, but it's gorgeous cream, really smooth. Yeah, and the biscuits, not massively, not as cocoa-y as you think, but they've got a little bit of bitterness to them as well as a sweetness. And they're quite rich, like a cocoa rich taste. The edges are hard, but the middle's got softness to it. If I'd have aced that ice cream, this would have been delicious. Like a Oreo keto ice cream. Oreo biscuits. So yeah, had I absolutely aced that ice cream, this would have been like one of my top 5 recipes. But the ice cream definitely needs more flavour, almond and vanilla extract. It needs more stuff in it, like more butter candies, more slivered almonds, and it needs more sweetener, I think. I think the sweetness of the biscuits is really the prevalent sweetener, so you taste the cream and it kind of just tastes a little bit like slightly flavoured, slightly sweetened cream. So maybe take a little bit of the sweetness out, drop it to 1/3 of a cup of sweetener in the biscuits, raise the sweetness in the cream to maybe 1/4 of a cup, and I think that would balance out really beautifully. I am getting a saltiness, and I don't know if that's the salted butter from the biscuits, I can taste it in the biscuits, or the fact my hands have been all over salty ice for 40 minutes. So every time I touch my fingers to my mouth, I just taste salt. Now, in terms of macronutrients, should you choose to make these, it will make you 8 ice cream sandwiches, and each ice cream sandwich is 420 calories, 43 grams of fat, 5 grams of protein, and 3 net carbs. Thank you as always for joining me on this incredibly chaotic series. Join me next week for the semi-final, which is patisserie week. But with that being said, that is all for this video. Leave a like if you found it interesting, insightful or helpful. Subscribe for more keto content. Any questions, any comments, any queries, anything down below. Keep calm, keto on. Thanks for watching.